Today we're going over, what are we going over?
The introduction of designer babies.
The introduction of designer babies. So why are we discussing this? Because this is something of science fiction. The problem is we have crossed into 2020. And a lot of things that we was told was science fiction that was going to happen in the future, they're doing it now. And now they do have the ability to do some selection and changes of chromosomes. This is something that they're debating in the scientific community about, should you be allowed to do this or should you not be allowed to do this? But they're arguing for people like me and you, should you be able and not do it. For people with stacks of money, they already, money is king in the world. We all know that. So some of these people are already past go. And it might be 10, 20 years before the cost of this get down to where this affect people like me and you. But this is going to be a problem in the higher classes with the wealthy and the royals and all these people starting now. And we're going to be going over this because this is a game changer. So let's get started. Today, when you have a baby, as the Bible says, when a man and woman come together and they become one. Because, people didn't always understand this. Today, we think a baby is, half the chromosomes come from the woman and half come from the man, correct? They did not understand this back in Roman days. In Roman days and before modern times, if the baby was a baby boy, it was considered a clone of the dad. And if it was a girl, it was considered a clone of the woman. They did not understand this mixing of genes and all this stuff. No, they wasn't playing that. But today we understand is that the baby is a mixture of both. Okay. Now, that is where we are now. So when you get with somebody, and especially if you're with a lady that's blonde hair, blue eyes, or this or that, and blonde hair, and she falls in love with a guy who's dark skin and curly hair or whatever, the baby is going to come out. A lot of time those, this is why in the United States, things like blue eyes and green eyes are going away. Because if you have light blue eyes or light green eyes, the only way you're going to keep your light blue eyes is to marry another person who have light blue eyes or green eyes. Because if you get with somebody who have dark eyes, your eye color will darken, right? And if you have very thin blonde hair, and if you get with somebody with curly hair, the hair is going to be thicker. And basically, you are just throwing all the genes in a big bowl and you're mixing them up and you're seeing what comes out. Okay. And sometimes, if you look at a family, not all the kids look alike. Some has more of this and less of this and more of this, and you don't know what you're getting. Right there. Correct. And this is how this game has been played since the beginning of time. Mm-hmm. But we're in the future now. We don't have to play this game anymore. That is now the old way of playing this game. Okay, we can play the game the new style. And the reason why they're interested in doing this game a different way is because today, let's go back in the past. You used to be able to have a baby at your home, and the only thing you had to pay was for a midwife, right? And then now today, you got to have it where you got to have the baby in the hospital, this and that. You got all the testing you got to do. So now a baby costs you, instead of a few hundred, a few $1,000s. With this designer baby stuff, you can get into lots of money. Because what they want to do with these designer babies is just like, it will be just like ordering a car. You will be able to do the skin color, the hair color. You'll be able to do things like if you want the sports package or the intelligence package, or if you want the football package, or, because you will be able to design the body type of your kid. And if you want a kid, like let's say you are a medical doctor, you might want that education package to where your kid is going to do extremely good in school. Now, do this mean if you pay $10,000 for the education package that your kid is guaranteed to get a high SAT score? Well, he might have the potential to do better in school, but it's up to him. You know, a lot of kids do bad in school is not because they're not smart. It's because they're too busy doing drugs, chasing girls, doing other things, and that's why they're doing bad in school. Okay, so just because you pay somebody $10,000 to get that education package doesn't mean that he's going to be valedictorian of his high school class, right?
Okay.
And if you order that football package and he comes out looking like Dick Buckus, 350 pounds and just solid from one end to the other, he may not want to play football. Right? He might have the football body, but maybe he doesn't want to play football. You see what I'm saying? So can you go and sue the doctor because you ordered the football body and your son don't want to play football? If you pay $10,000 extra for the glamour package and your daughter comes out looking like a movie star and she's not, and then she goes and put tattoos all over her body. You get what I'm saying, don't you? And have body piercings everywhere. Okay, see, this is the problem. Just because you pay for something or you want something, this is what Michael Jackson and several other movie stars have complained about. Because some of these kids have never been able to grow up. Because there was this one kid several years ago that was she was doing beauty contests ever since she was 5-6 years old. A lot of these kids, no one never asked them, do you want to do this? It's the parents' dream. You understand what I'm saying? Which becomes the kid's nightmare. Because since that kid was grown up, they was told that you're going to be a musician or you're going to be an athlete or you're going to be this right? And this is where we're going because you can, just because you have the body to do something doesn't mean that you want to do it. Mm-hmm. But we believe, see, metaphysically speaking, we are snowflakes. Every individual is different. Because remember, you left God as a speck of living energy, his left-hand side. Your goal is to go through every form of creation, every type of life, and return to him as a splitting image of him. So, since everybody's journey is different, when you get to our level, even though you look a certain way, doesn't mean that you all have the ambition. That's the reason some people want to be a medical doctor, and some people want to be a hairstylist, and some women just want to be a housewife and have babies, right? It's up to you. But the problem is we are taking more and more control. We're trying to control and dominate not only society, not only our kids, not only nature. We're trying to control and manipulate everything. And now it's getting to the point where even when it comes to having a baby, we're going to control and try to dominate our baby to where we're going to say, okay, I want my baby to be a rock and roll star. So you're going to order the glamour package and you're going to get the creativity package and this and that and everything else. And you're going to have him in all these classes when he's 5-6 years old. Maybe he want to be a truck driver. You see the problem here? Okay. This is one reason why so many people, which we're going to have a meeting about this later, but this is why in America and in most of the industrial world, the suicide rate is astronomical. And so many people are on something called antidepressants because they're not living the life that they want to live. They're living the life that they was, their parents or their friends or peer pressure chose their life. They didn't, and they end up with a job they hate. Mm-hmm. They married to a woman they hate. Okay, you understand? And they hate their life. And they hate their job. They hate their wife. They hate everything. Okay. And what is beautiful is when you have that football body and you love to play sports. But not everybody with a football body want to play sports. Right? And even though we can only design the outside of the package. We cannot design the inside of the package. So you can play with those little jeans all you want, and you can change your body, your baby, to look any way you want it to be. But that you are not changing the individuality of your baby. That is still your baby's decision.
Free will.
Free will.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do any of this make sense?
Yep.
Okay. And this is the problem that we're facing. And this is a problem that we're coming into society. The point of free society is to be free. And the problem we're facing, not only with designer babies or all this technology and what everything, all this stuff is not being, we was told in the future, back in the 50s and 60s, that when all this technology was going to come about, that we was going to be free to enjoy ourselves all and relax, because computers and robots was going to do all the work. And we was going to be free to relax and enjoy ourselves. That future did not happen. Now we got a cell phone that's tracking us 24 hours a day. It's recording all of our text messages. It's keeping track of every website we go to. In China, they're putting facial recognition on everything now, to where if you enter any stadium or walk down the street, they want to know the name of everyone who walked down that street, or the name of everyone who went in that building. Or, oh my, this is not the future we signed up for, right? And then and in the future for our kids, they're going to come out and you're going to tell your kid, okay, I got everything set for you. I picked out the perfect body for you. I picked out this. I picked out this. You're going to be this type of job. I designed everything so you can be a medical doctor. I got everything set for you. I got everything set so you can be a basketball player. I did everything. What happens if the kid don't want to play basketball? Do you get a refund? Okay. Are you going to accept that kid says, no, mommy, I don't want to do that? I don't want to be a basketball player. I want to do something else. I want to be I just want to have a regular job. I want to be a carpenter. Okay. Right? See, this is where we're going astray. We cannot control everything. We're not supposed to be controlling everything. And the problem, and this gets into the thing about the future evolution of mankind. Because once we start tinkering with all this stuff, and then when people start getting this, intelligence package for their kids, and you have all these rich kids that's getting these perfect SAT scores, and you got all these kids that can run the mile and record. Okay, are they cheating? This is why Russia's been banned for the next 4 years and not going to be in the Olympics and the coming Olympics, because Russia keeps cheating. They keep giving all their athletes steroids and all these performance enhancing drugs. And they keep trying to catch them. And every time they catch them, they switch to another drug that there's no test for now. But a year from now, we do have a test for that. And when we test, we see that they cheated again. And this has been going on for the last 10 years or so. You understand? Because Russia doesn't want to compete on a fair footing. Because if you put a Russian athlete against everyone else in the world, there is no guarantee the Russian's going to win. Right?
Right.
Okay. it's guaranteed the cat's going to win, but that's the only thing that's guaranteed. You know what I'm saying? Cats always win. But anyway, sorry about that. We're still having cat technical problems. But anyway, but this is the problem that we're having. And if the rich people, because see, we're not going to be able to afford this designer stuff when it first come out. To design your baby, it might run by the time you pick out your hair color, this, that, what package you want, the bill might be $350,000. It could be $500,000.
That's crazy.
Okay. We're not going to be able to afford this. And then we're going to start noticing that all these rich kids are getting these perfect test scores. They're getting these perfect on this. We're going to say, hey, are these people cheating? Okay, is this allowable? Okay. Right? And this will create a new class of human beings, which will not see now class distinction is based on, we already have distinction on, race and class already, because a lot of us who go to these public schools, and you got people now that goes to private schools and this and that. And when you go into these private schools and people are spending giant money to send their kids to private schools, they're cheating a little bit. Right?
Why?
Okay. Why? Because in the public school, see, the public school is 40 people in a class. And you're paying, the reason you're paying that extra money, the reason you're sending your kids to that Sylvan Learning Center and all this stuff, because you want that edge. You want that little extra, right? And some of these parents spend a lot of money on these tutoring programs. This is the problem that you have in South Korea right now. In South Korea and in China too. If you don't do all this prep work, it's starting to happen in India too. Your kid is not going to get the good grades, because to get into the supreme schools in India or China now, if you don't get a near perfect score, you're not getting in. And how they get a near perfect score is that after they get out of school, they take all these prep classes. And I took a prep class when I got my real estate degree. And the prep test was almost identical to the real test. Okay. And I took some classes a year ago to get my commercial driver's license, and I took some prep courses. The test was almost identical to the real test. Did I cheat? And when I first tried to take the test and I didn't take the prep courses, I flunked the test. Then I took the prep courses, and then I passed the test. Did I cheat or did I not cheat? I don't know. But you understand what I'm saying, right? And if you have a baby, and if you're ordering all this extra stuff, and then your kid just happened to be number 1 or 2 in the class, and if you spend all this money on your kid, and your kid just happens to be make all the all state football team, okay, did you cheat? Is that fair? Is money the answer? And since you have money and other people don't, are you allowed to do that? And is that how society is going to split in the future into the have and to the have-nots? And this is the problem that they had long time ago, when you had back in the feudal periods. Only the royals knew how to read or write, and the regular people didn't know how to read or write. They didn't know how to anything. So how could you compete with the royals when you had nothing? You understand what I'm saying? Okay. This is the problem we had when discrimination ended. They said, okay, discrimination ended. Okay, everything's equal now. But we was not given the same thing. When I was in school in the 60s, a lot of black schools didn't offer a lot of the programs that was in the white school. Once they started busing, we started finding out about, in Dayton, Ohio, they started busing from the black kids to the east side of town. Some of those schools on the east side of town, they had their own radio stations. They had their own newspapers. They had tennis teams and swimming. We didn't know about anything about that. We knew nothing about that stuff. Okay. They had all these college prep courses in high school. We didn't have none of that on the west side of town. Okay. And then they say, hey, y'all just not as smart as they are. It's not our fault. Okay. Do you understand? See, we make our problems and then we try to pretend like they're not there. Okay. So this is going to open a whole new can of worms into the future. And at first, just like they're having this thing now that they caught these movie stars cheating to get into colleges because they had money. So they was able to pay their way in to get into college. But the poor, we can't pay our way to get into college, right? See, people have always been cheating. And it's getting harder and harder and harder. So as long as we keep doing this stuff, this is why, American society or society throughout the world, we have so many problems, not only in this country, but around the world, because we separate ourselves. I was just playing for her a song a minute ago about we are one. Okay. Cats are one. The black cats, the white cats, the caticos, you get what I'm saying, the Siamese. You don't see that they are one. But when it comes to human beings, we are not one. We want to split ourselves by class, by race, by religion, by this, by that, by all this stuff, by money, by economic opportunity, by, all this different stuff. This is why we're not getting anywhere. This is why Socrates, I've said this several times, Socrates says once society fulfill the basic needs of its citizens, society will start to advance. We're not advancing anywhere. We're not going anywhere. Okay. We have the same problems this country we had in the 1960s that we had in the 1920s that we had in the 1850s. We just keep repeating the same thing over and over and over again. Okay. And if we're going to move forward, and if we want to move beyond our blue marble and to go out into the outer space, we need to, because we can't go into outer space and say, I'm a white earthling. Oh, those black earthlings, they're kind of okay. And those, okay. See, either you're an earthling or you're not an earthling, right? Okay. I think we're all earthlings are we all earthlings on this planet? Okay. Or we can call ourselves humanoids. We need to come up with a name. But once we leave this blue ball, we're going to be considered as one. Right? And if we can't solve our problems here, then we have no business trying to leave here. Right? And this is what happened when the conquistadors came to the New World. They didn't make life better for the people in the New World. They screwed everything up. Columbus and all these people wrote back when they went to Mexico City how advanced Mexico City was. It was the largest city in the world. How the city, the market was getting produce and items from hundreds of miles away. How their source system worked. How this worked. How advanced everything was. They wrote all this back to Spain about how great the Aztec system was. And then they burnt down the whole city and rebuilt it. And after that, the city had typhoid, the city had this, the city had, okay, you get what I'm saying? It was just like a European city after that. You know what I'm saying? Terrible. Is that what we're going to do to the first alien race we come across in outer space? We're going to write about how advanced they are, how they're this, how smart they are, how this and that. And then we're going to destroy their culture and society and build it back and make it look like Newark, New Jersey when we're finished. I'm not talking bad about Newark, New Jersey, though, but I think everybody understands what I'm getting at. Okay. This is the problem. we need to quit playing around. And we need to work on what is good for the betterment of all of mankind, not for the betterment of my kid. And when I'm only worried about my kid, to hell with everybody else's kid. And I'm going to spend all this money to benefit my kid. Because when the rich people start doing that, money will chase after money. Right? And while these rich people are getting all this extra packages, we're still going to have people in the world starving to death. We're still going to have people in the world start dying of malaria and all these diseases that they've been dying of for thousands of years, because the problem is they don't have any money. Right? And this is why, unfortunately, when they show these movies of the future, they show, unfortunately, in Blade Runner or in Judge Dredd or a lot of these other movies, what our future is going to look like. It's going to be a two-tier society where the ultra-rich live in this super futuristic world and the poor people live in a super, super ghetto state. You understand? Okay. Is that the future we want for our kids? Is that the future we want for ourselves? We need to do this. And what we need to be working on, since we can, we're going to take some questions. So before I do that, do you have any question or comment or something you would like to add? Or any concerns, or do you think this will be good if everybody, because remember, there was a song back in the 60s that said, if I had a choice of colors, which one would I choose, my brother? Okay. So if you could choose your color, would everybody in the world be blind with blue eyes 20 years from now? I don't think so. Or would it be the way it is with hair color? Now that you can choose your hair color, everybody's not blind. You got people with red hair and blue hair and green hair, and oh my gosh, sometimes it's very scary out there. Okay, you see, sometimes people they're just out of control. We need to write tickets to some of these people, just put them on timeout. Okay, just ban them from hair dyes for a while, because these hair dyes was created because some people didn't want black hair, some people didn't want this hair, but not everybody want blonde hair. Not everybody wants brunette. Not everybody want to be a redhead. And if you believe that if you could choose eye color, that everyone's going to choose blue and green eyes, you're mistaken. We're going to have purple eyes and red eyes and polka dot eyes. We're going to have kids that's going to look like, oh my gosh, this is going to be very scary.
Yeah. Do I think it's a good idea? No. That's my opinion.
And what did you see as the problem with this? Is that do you see that society's going to get closer, or this is going to pull society even further apart?
Yeah, further apart.
Because the people with the money is going to play the games.
Exactly.
And the people without the money.
People, are just going to be the poor people.
Yeah, and their kids are going to be poor because they're not going to get any extra, they won't get any goodies.
Right.
Right? Only the rich people are going to get the goodies, right? And the richer you are, the more goodies you can spend. And if you're Bill Gates and have a baby, instead of getting the $500,000 package, he's going to get the $2 billion package. And his baby's going to be floating 2 inches above the ground and have super abilities and all kind of stuff. See, this is the problem. The problem, as you can see in the movie Iron Man. Iron Man was this super rich guy. He figured out how to make a suit. Did he make one for everyone? No, only for him. Right? He wanted the power, right? And even though he made 100 suits for him, and he can call up all of his suits, he didn't make one for anybody other than himself. Amazing. That's called greed and selfishness, right? So instead of a person spending, instead of saying, okay, I got $1 million, why don't I help those kids over there and I'm going to give them a $5,000 package each, right? He's just going to spend all the money on his, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus, not to mention, I don't think, that's just not the way God intended it. So, I don't think it's right.
Okay, but did God intend people to have blue and green hair? Did God intend people to walk around with tattoos all over their face? And okay, see, we're way beyond that book here. We're way beyond that book. Okay. We have crossed over into, where man have never been. Okay. We're in the Wild Wild West. See, and we are figuring this stuff out today. And just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, there is people today who is into something called body modification. And these people are putting horns and all kind of stuff and implants in their skin to where they're putting holes. Okay, they're doing all kind of stuff. And if they're doing that to themselves, which you have the right to ruin your own life, do you have the right to do that to your unborn baby and say, I'm going to make a baby and my baby's going to have a tail and my baby's going to have this and oh my gosh, this is going to be really scary. This is going to be really a lot of fun. Okay. So what some governments want to do is regulate this stuff. Okay. Some like Congress have already talked about this. And they want to make it where they have very strict rules on what you can or cannot do. But it's just like rules about everything else. Rules, what trumps all rules is moolah, right? And if you got enough money, there's always that doctor. And you can always fly off to Cuba or some third world country or go to, you understand what I'm saying, don't you? As long as you got the money. Okay. So this is why some people want to ban this line of research. Because instead of us worrying about, because this is what Hitler was doing in the Nazi concentration camps. Because Hitler was working on the Aryan, on the 1,000-year reign of the Aryan nation. He was trying to bring in the Aryans. But the problem he was facing is that Hitler, according to his Aryan thing he was working on, he wanted to create these people that was, he wanted to create these people that was blonde hair, blue eyes, and this and that. And this is what you see in all the Hitler posters. And all the German people had blonde hair and blue eyes. The secret is that no one wants to talk about. Most German people don't have blonde hair and blue eyes. There's a lot of German people with black hair and dark eyes. They was working on that in the concentration camps. In the concentration camps, they was experimenting on those prisoners. You're going to kill them anyway. You might as well have a little fun. They was experimenting on how to change eye color, how to change skin color, how to change hair color. Okay. We don't want to even go there. A lot of these things we captured and the Russians captured after the war. Okay. There's a lot of things you can't even talk about that the Nazis was doing. Okay. But they wanted to know what was possible because they was going to modify the German people into this race. And their thing was the new master race was going to be these blonde hair, blue-eyed, light-skinned people. So they was going to transform the German people from what they are today, where you got a lot of them that have dark hair, and they was going to transform them into blonde hair and blue. And that's what you see in the movie Iron Sky, where they took the black guy who was an astronaut and they turned him into a white guy. You get what I'm saying? Okay. Because, okay, if you have the ability to do that, okay. We still don't want to talk about, and no one want to talk about what Michael Jackson did. No one wants to talk about that. But how many people lined up to follow what he did? Okay. Michael Jackson went from being dark skin to light skin I haven't seen a long line of people lining up to do whatever he did. He said this was a medical condition. I don't see the rest of his family members going from dark skin to light skin. Okay. But we don't want to discuss that. Okay. Nobody wants to discuss that. I'm not discussing that. Okay. But I'm not interested of going from dark skin to white skin. I'm not interested. Okay. If you don't like me being dark skinned, oh well, what the hell? Okay. And my enemy list is very long already. So if you want to join it, feel free. Okay. So it's not bothering me. But anyway, this is the thing that we need to keep in mind. And if we want to have a better future, and instead of talking about the government need to do this, the government needs to do the government, we are the government. We the people. And the problems we keep having in this country and around the world is we keep sitting back doing nothing, and then things happen and we say, how come the government let that happen? It's our government. It's our future.
Yeah, so far. Yeah.
Well, we're letting these corporations, and it's just like with our cell phones. We're not complaining about our cell phones doing all the stuff it's not supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Okay, we're not complaining.
That's another subject anyway.
Okay.
That's another show.
Yes,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
we are creating a future which is very scary. And you know, and it's just like real quick. You know, this is the problem with the new commercial trucks out there. A lot of these 18-wheelers on the road, they have cameras inside of them. You got GPS tracking. Everything you're doing is being recorded inside the truck. They know exactly how you're doing. If you hit the brake real hard, you know, your company knows instantly that you broke that you hit the brake. If you're speeding 10 miles over the speed limit, your company knows instantly. Is that the kind of future we want to have for our kids, where we're being tracked and monitored continuously all day, continuously? Is this the future we want to have? And this is called freedom? That doesn't sound like freedom to me. That sounds like, oh my gosh. Okay, why die to go to hell when you can? Maybe we're creating our own hell. We need to think about this. But we need to decide. This is Pandora's box. If we let this box get opened, and if we start letting people play this game, the world as we know it will never be the same. Because once that kid is made with that athletic package and he can jump or run twice as fast as everyone else is going to want to do it too, right? Okay. True?
Yeah.
And this is the problem with steroids. That's why they had to ban steroids, because steroids was making athletes perform way beyond their norm. And it was making it impossible for athletes who wouldn't take steroids to compete against the athletes that was on steroids. Okay. You see what I'm saying? And that's what they're having now in women competition, is that, you know, in women's sports, you have some of these people now that are doing, you know, things, the line between what is a man and what is a woman is becoming so blurred. Some of these women athletes, they say they're women athletes, but you can't really tell. You understand what I'm saying? It's just
like we saw the other day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But that's a subject for a different day too. So I hope you enjoyed our little talk to today. We don't have any answers. This is something we all need to think about and comprehend, because we control our future. And if we want to have a bright future, remember, we're supposed to be one people. We're not supposed to be, we need to get out of playing all these games we're playing. And in the future, we all need to come together. Okay. And we need to take these gene modification and work on people that have problems, so we can solve genetic with diseases. That's why we need to be working with the genes, not so people can cheat, right? It's the same effort to work on disease or to chase after the money. Okay. But chasing after disease the money is limited. Rich people, they're willing to pay whatever it takes for them to cheat. So this is our meeting for today. I hope you enjoyed it.